الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خاتم الأنبياء أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. In Kitab al-Hajj wal-Umrah, we get to a very important bab, and this bab will deal with al-Fidya. What is al-Fidya? Expiations. طيب. Why is this bab essential? First and foremost, because it affects the validity of your Hajj. Is your Hajj valid or is it invalid? Batil is dependent upon this bab. Secondly, it's essential because I'm not going to try to guess at a percentage, but I'll definitely say a majority of Muslims have no idea about Fidya. I mean, they may have something they've heard here and there, but if you really tell them that this happened in Hajj or this happened in Umrah, what should we do? They don't know. طيب? And we need to be educated. طيب? If you go for Hajj, the ilm of how to perform the Hajj is farda. طيب? If you're going to make salah, then the ilm of how to make salah correctly is fard on you. طيب. Now, is making salah fard? You guys good? Only one brother I heard. Fard or no fard? Fard. The maktuba, yani salat al-fara'id, they're fard, right? So that means the fiqh of how to make salah correctly, at least so it's not batila, is fardul ayn on you. Sah wala la? Tayyib. Is Hajj fard or not? For the one who is able. Huh? Fard? No bataniya here? No? Okay, good. Tayyib. If Hajj is fard, then the ilm on how to perform Hajj correctly and to protect it from becoming batil is fardul ayn on you. Zakat, Sawm, everything in the same way. Something is mustahab, then the ilm of it is mustahab. Something is mubah, then the ilm of it is mubah. Tayyib. Today, if you ask most parents, is it fard on your child to become a doctor? They will say fardul ayn. Engineer, right? But those things, yani fardul kifaya on the ummah. If we have doctors and engineers, alhamdulillah, it becomes mubah. Tayyib. But to make the 5 times salawat, to fast in Ramadan, to perform Hajj in a lifetime for the one who is able, to give the zakat for the one who has that wealth, for the aqeedah of Islam, these things are fardul ayn upon every Muslim. The ilm of it is fardul ayn upon every Muslim. Having said that, we will study this bab insha'Allah in a brief manner. Why? Because if we get into details, this will go very long. When I studied this bab, it took longer than salah. It took longer than salah. Why? Because the differences of opinions and the minute khilaf and the big effect of it is a lot here. طيب? But we will keep it in a ikhtisar, in a summarized manner. And I will put one shart. No questions until we finish the bab of Fidya. Why? Because a lot of what I say will make sense later with what I say later. Because the bab is like that. It goes over some basics and then it goes into the detail, inshallah. So save the questions until the end of next week's dars. And inshallah, if still something is not clear, marhaban bikum, will ask questions all you like till, inshallah, till next Ramadan, no problem. Tayyib. We left off on those things that were forbidden during a state of Ihram. Tayyib, why do we call it a state of Ihram? Right? Why do we call it Masjid al-Haram? Why do we say Takbiratul Ihram? Haram here doesn't mean evil. Like regularly, if you say, brother, that's haram, you mean it's bad, right? But here it means it's a state of sanctity, right? It's a state where what regularly would be halal becomes haram on you. طيب? So for example, Masjid al-Haram, can you hunt in it? Regularly can you hunt? Yes. But within the haram, you cannot. So regularly it's halal, within the haram it's haram. And there are other examples. Wa alaikum assalam. Tayyib, takbiratul ihram. Tayyib, regularly, can I speak to you? Can I say, Shaybat, let me holler at you? It's all right? Right? But if I'm making salah, and Shayba walks, I'm like, hey brother, I need to talk to you, man. Can I do that? No. Takbiratul ihram, when you do that, what was halal before became haram. Eating, drinking, talking, like this. Tayyib, the state of ihram is the same way. There are things that would regularly be halal. If a man wants to cover his head regularly, alhamdulillah, no problem with that. Right? But in a state of ihram, you cannot. Tayyib, we already discussed those things, 9 things we discussed. Tayyib. Today we will talk about violation of those things. There are different types of violations. There are violations of the manasik. You will violate things that have to do with manasik, right? Not being in Arafah, missing Muzdalifah, and not making jamarat, this. And there are violations of the ihram, the state of ihram, being in a state of ihram. For example, cutting nails and cutting hair, and we'll talk about these inshallah. And we will discuss how to give the fidya for the jarahim, yani for your violations, and we'll discuss about some of these terms, what is kafara, what is fidya and things, towards the end of the dars. In the beginning, just soak it in, inshallah. Tayyib. So what were the things that we mentioned were forbidden for a person in a state of ihram? Izalatu sha'r, right? Which is cutting the hair from the ayah of Quran itself. Taqlim al-adfar, the cutting of the nails. Tayyib. We mentioned for the hair the ayah of Quran, there, clear, Surah Al-Baqarah, 196 time. What about for the nails? Qiyasan ala sha'r. Ijma'an. Yani there is no hadith for the nails in and of themselves, but the ulama of Islam making qiyas on hair by consensus, by ijma', agree that you should not cut the nails. And that's very interesting for those tullab ilm of usul al-fiqh. For the people that go a little bit too much towards the zahiriyah, yani when they reject qiyas too much, what would they do in this situation? Ijma'an, there is qiyas here being used to bring a hukm. Tayyib. That was a little advanced for the brothers that are advanced like Shayba. Tayyib. تغطية رأس لذكر, يعني covering the head for the male. طيب. Now, these are 3 so far. 4th, لبس المخيط, يعني wearing that which is stitched. Makhit here is a term for stitched that is not in hadith, but istidlalan. From what Rasulullah ﷺ forbid, from the qamis and the things like the amaim and those things that Rasulullah ﷺ forbid, taking from that, the ulama have made this rule that for the man wearing stitched clothes. These are 4. فقال المؤلف إلا the muallif made an exception from these stitched clothes. Sarawil, what is sarawil? Pants. Today we say sirwal, right? But in the lugha, in hadith, sarawil has come for singular, not jama'. Jama' is sarawilat. Look at Ibn Athir. This is just some advanced things for the brothers. Okay? But this is how language develops. طيب. Except for the pants or silwar, as we say nowadays, right? For the one, bi'adam al-izar, for the one that doesn't have izar. And the khuffain, the socks, the leather socks, bi'adam al-na'lain. If you don't have slippers to wear the socks, the leather socks that cover your ankles, regularly, if you don't have, you cut the socks below the ankles. Okay? If you're going to cut them, so they're below the ankles, then you can wear them. Tayyib, these 2, wearing a silwar, in absence of a izar, and khuf, in absence of na'al, these 2, if you do them, there is no fidya. So, right? For these 2, bila fidya. The rest will discuss the fidya on them, but this is an exception. And there's a clear hadith on this one. So we take this. Tayyib. The fifth, at-tib. Tayyib. Tib, yani the good smell, perfume, atar. Now, if the perfume has alcohol in it, you need to stay away from it anyway. Because if it's the type of alcohol that can intoxicate you, ethanol alcohol, then according to Jumhur al-Ulama, and especially the ulama of the past, that this is najis, there is najasa in it. Tayyib. If it's so small that it doesn't intoxicate and things, those usul will come in later. But the best thing is, use the atar. We have those nice oil smells, use those. Oud and misk and all these nice ones that don't have any alcohol. Why go into shak? Tayyib. These five, what were they? Cutting hair, cutting nails. One student, all these brothers here. Come on. Wearing stitched clothing. You skipped to number 4. You skipped one. Covering the head for men and putting the perfume. The fidya for all 5 of these, we'll go into more detail later, is what's called fidya al-adi, which is you have an option. Tayyib. And the base of this goes to the Quran itself in Surah Al-Baqarah, the 196th ayah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells them, فالفدية the fidya min al-siyam أو صدقة أو nusuk. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tell us? 3 things. You can either fast, give sadaqah, or sacrifice. The fact that there is aw in the Quran, meaning you have an option. It's not that you have to do one of these and if you can't, then the other. No, it's your option. Tayyib, in the Quran, it gives you 3 things. What is it? Fasting. What else? Allah, I just said it. Sadaqah and giving nusuk, which is to blood sacrifice. Tayyib, but how many days would you fast? If you fast, as-siyam, nakira, right? It's not as-siyam, it's not yawma, yawmain or thalatha. So if you are, may Allah, none of you are, but as people watch the video, if you are from those who call yourself Quraniyun, now we have this fitna, right? People who want to follow their desires, they say, we don't accept hadith. Tayyib, you don't accept hadith. How many days are you going to fast? If you say 1, هذا ليس الصوم. Quran doesn't say صوم. Right? Siyam, jam'a. If you say 3 or 4 or 5, we'll ask you, where did you get that number? طيب. From the muttafaqun alayh hadith in al-Bukhari and Muslim, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam explained the ayah. He made tashrih of the ayah. And he explained that siyam li thalatha ayyam, 3 days. طيب. And for sadaqah, he said, وَأَتْعَمْ سِتَّ masakin. Or, what is sadaqah here? To feed 6 poor. We'll discuss about the poor having to be from Mecca and where the sadaqah is given and where the udhiyah is done. All of that will come, inshaAllah. And for the nusuk, it will be shat, yani it will be a sheep. Shat, as from the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and from the linguistics of the hadith, we know is either a 1-year-old sheep or a 2-year-old goat. Okay? So now, if you violated any one of these 5, you have an option. What can you do? Either you have to fast. How many days? 3 days. Where is that from? Hadith. Muttafaqun alayhi. Yani al-Bukhari or Muslim. Tayyib. Challenge to those who reject hadith. Where are you going to explain this hukm from? Tayyib. If you don't want to fast, what else can you do? Feed 6 miskeen. How much is also in hadith, and we'll explain it inshallah. Okay. If not, sacrifice for the sake of Allah, shat, which is either a 1-year-old sheep or a 2-year-old goat. Tayyib. Now, the 6th is qatlu Sayyid al-Bir. Sayyid al-Bir, yani that which you hunt on land. If you hunt, this is the 6th violation of what? The state of Ihram. Now understand the difference between violating a state of Ihram and violations in the manasik of Hajj and Umrah. What do you have to do if you hunt? We will go over in detail, but then you have to give a fidya like it. And we'll talk about this in detail coming up, inshallah. Then there is the 7th, yarhamakallah. The 7th is aqdul nikah. Aqdul nikah, yani to perform the nikah, the actual process of nikah. There is a difference between jima' and nikah. Nikah is the actual marriage contract. Right? Jima' is spousal relations. Aqdul nikah, if somebody actually does a nikah in a state of ihram, this is wrong. I'm not going to get into whether it's valid or not and all the khilaf ulama and things. What is applicable to us is that this is something you cannot do in a state of ihram. Is there fidya for it? La. For this one, there's no fidya. So you can write or memorize bila fidya for the one who does the nikah. The 8th jima'a and 9th mubasharatun, yani bima dun al-farj. Either spousal relations or what leads to it without actual intercourse. These two are very serious and we'll discuss the fidya of it coming up. So these are the 9 in the state of ihram and their fidya. Now we'll go into tafsil, a little more detail. ففي أقل من 3 شعرات. So the muallif says if it is less than 3 hairs or 3 nails. And if somebody cuts less than 3 strands of hair or cuts less than 3 of their nails, then في كل واحد, for everyone, أقل, يعني from which is less, تعامل مسكين. You have to feed 1 miskin. So what does that hukam mean? We're going to separate the lightweights from the طلاب علم today. طيب, what does that mean? So if somebody, according to the muallif, if somebody cuts 2 hairs, right, what do they have to do? Feed 2 people. For every one miskin. What if you cut 3? No, then the dham. Because he said less than 3. So 1 hair, feed 1 person. 2 hairs, feed 2 people. 3, it goes to the 3 options that we had. Then you have to either fast, how many days? 3 days. Or feed 6 people. Or sacrifice shah. Tayyib. That is for 3 hairs and up. What is the dalil for that? I did not find a sarih hadith marfu'an or mawqufan for this. But Shaykh Salih al-Fawzan and others in their shuruh, they said the dalil is ijtihad ala al-lugha. Very interesting. They said sha'r is jam'a. And in the Arabic language, jam'a is 3 and more. Plural is 3 and more. Tayyib. If you have 1 in English, what's that called? All you English teachers in Saudi, come on, what's it called? Singular. In English, if you have 2 or more, what's it called? Plural. Right? I'm not an English major, right? Shayba? Good? I'm learning. It's not my language. Tayyib. I don't know what my language is. Tayyib. In Arabi, في اللغة العربية فصيحة, أهل اللغة, أهل اليمن, طيب, 1 هو مفرد, صح ولا لا؟ والاثنين مثنى. لا نقول جمع, هو مثنى. طيب, كل نقول رجل ورجلان. والرجال هو 3 وأكثر, صح ولا لا؟ لست عربا ولست يعني ماهرا باللغة لكن طالب علم. So in Arabic, if you have 1, that's called mufrad, singular. If you have 2, that's called muthanna. It's a dual tense, which is unique Maybe they have it in other languages as well, but we don't have it in English, but it's in Arabic. طيب? 3 or more is called jam'a. So the ulama said sha'r is jam'a. So if it was 2 or 1, it would not reach that level. This is ijtihad, and I'm explaining how they made the ijtihad. But there is no sarih dalil on this. طيب? So whoever accepts this ijtihad, alhamdulillah. Whoever doesn't accept it, we cannot say they're wrong on this. Right? Somebody could say even if you cut 1 hair, it comes under the category of cutting hair, and you will give the full dam. Otherwise you could say, no, that doesn't come under sha'r. If somebody cuts 1 hair, you don't say they got a haircut, right? So you wouldn't accept that. And either way, we don't become staunch on this issue because it's of ijtihad and everybody has their dalail here. طيب. وفي ثلاثة if there is 3 فأكثر or more than that دم. Then you have to give the blood sacrifice or the other 2 options as we've already mentioned. وفي تغطية الرأس, and if somebody covers the head in a way that it touches the head. If there is clarification. Why? Because it might be really hot and you take an umbrella and you cover yourself, but it's not touching your head, then in that case there's no fidya. طيب? You might be sitting under an umbrella, like a big umbrella. You might be sitting under shade. Some of the people of bid'ah, they have these weird ahkam, where they say in Hajj you cannot have anything above you. So their buses have no roofs. You will see them in Hajj, some of the people, their bus will have no roof. I don't know how they get on a plane, right? But these are bila dalil, there's no dalil in that. Even in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, people used to sit under the shade of trees in a state of ihram, as has come in ahadith. So there's nothing wrong with something being above you, but for a man, you should not have a covering that touches the head. What does that include? Qulansua, what we call kufi nowadays, right? In Fusha, Qulansua. And other languages, somebody calls it topi, somebody calls it a hat, a cap, whatever, right? Or an imama, or a shimag, or if somebody just takes their ihram and ties it, like I saw many times in Hajj and Umrah, people take their rida from top and they put it on their head. Even though there's not like an extreme cold or extreme heat, they just, they do it, they shouldn't. If you cover the head with something that touches the head for men, for sisters, please keep your heads covered, not like that video that's gone out of some sister that's wearing rida and izar in the Haram nowadays. But for the man, if you do that, or you wear something stitched, or you put the perfume or the good smell on the badan or thawb, on your clothes, thawb here is for the izar and rida, طيب, or on your body, or you put something that has a smell that is from oil. طيب. This is another issue many people don't know. You cannot put oils with smells in a state of ihram. طيب. What does that mean? You get those essential oils and those nice smelling oils, not atar, I'm talking about like oil, cream, right, that has a smell. If you put those on yourself, on your body, or on your izar or rida, this is a violation of ihram. This is a violation of ihram. I'll give you a warning, which I know me and Abu Ilyas saw when we went for Umrah. When your plane crosses into miqat, you are now with the niyyah of ihram, flying into Jeddah for example, you're past the miqat, you're about to land, they bring you these little napkins that have a fragrance to wipe your face or hands. The air hostesses, they bring a tray, it has, in the old days or in some of it used to be towels without smell, but nowadays they have this little packet that has a smell to it. And all these people in ihram, past miqat, are taking it, they're rubbing their hand, putting it on their face. They have violated ihram. Now, they have to do one of the 3 things. And unfortunately, because they don't have people of ilm with them, many of them don't realize it and they go with it. Tayyib, what about a oil that is necessary or a cream without fragrance? Right? For example, many brothers, maybe sisters too, they get chapped between the legs from walking a lot and that they're not used to, especially those of us that may have more weight than others, right? Then they need to put like Vaseline or some cream between the legs not to get chapped. As Shaykh Ibn Baz rahmatullah alayhi and Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen and others were asked, they said there is jawaz. There is no problem with that. Because it doesn't have a smell. It doesn't come tashbihan with anything that is smell. But other things like hand lotions that have a smell and things you should stay away from in a state of ihram. Tayyib. If you do any of these, then there is fidya. وقال المؤلف والفدية يعني there is fidya on you. We already talked about the fidya. Tayyib, where does the fidya have to be offered? For most of these, except what will come up next, which is hunting, except for them, wherever you did the violation, you can give the fidya. And if you were away from the actual haram, you can do it there. What is the dalil for that? The hadith sahih, where Rasulullah was in Hudaybiyah and he gave the fidya there. Okay? As long as it reaches the people of Makkah and things, you're fine. But for the hunting, it has to be within the haram. Not the masjid, but the haram. Because this is a unique case. طيب. فإن قتل سيد يعني سيد المأكول يعني that if you hunt or if you killed something that is hunted. طيب. Now the muallif uses the words very beautifully. طيب. First thing is that you have to kill it. If you injure an animal, you did not يعني, reach the same as what would be considered a violation of ihram. But if you hunted an animal, then why did we say hunt and not just kill? Because you may kill a chicken. Is that considered hunting? Huh? Would you hunt chicken? No. Right? You never put on like camouflage and stuff with a shotgun, I'm going to go hunt chicken? No. So that's not hunting. So in ihram, can you kill a chicken and eat it? Yes, you can, because that's not hunting. طيب. مأكول يعني that which is eaten. طيب. What does that mean? What if there is a snake or a scorpion and you kill it in ihram, right? Because you're in a state of being in danger, for example, that is not considered hunting. What if there's a fly, and you're sitting somewhere and it gets on you and you hit your head or whatever and you kill it, right? That's not considered hunting. Okay? Even though you shouldn't be killing things within the haram anyway, but if something is harmful, you can kill it. Okay? And that would not come under hunting. Barriya aslan. What does the muallif say? And that which is from the land in its asal. What does that mean? What if you fished? I don't know if there's any lakes or things there nowadays, but yani, tayyib, what if you fish? Would that be considered hunting? No. Right? You never go with a fishing rod and go, honey, I'm going hunting, right? That's called fishing. That will not be a violation here. Why did he say aslan? Because even birds come under this violation. Chicken do not. Why? Because that's not hunting. But if there is a bird of flight that flies, that is halal to eat, ma'kul, not something that's haram to eat, and you hunt it in a state of ihram, then that is a violation. طيب. Things like shrimp, these would not be a violation. طيب. فعليه جزاؤه. He said, then there is the jaza, then there is what is due upon it. This is from the Quran itself, and we'll talk about that inshallah in the next dars. We're not going to cover the hunting fidya because there is a lot of qualifications in the next dars as it comes in the matan inshallah. والجماع. جماع يعني intercourse, we'll leave it at that. قبل تحليل الأول. طيب, before تحلل الأول. What does that mean? Before the first تحليل في الحج. وقبل الفراغ السعي في العمرة. So there are two places this violation can happen. One is after you entered the state of ihram until the tahlul al-awwal, which is the first Tahleel in Hajj, when is that? After stoning and cutting, which is after the Aqaba. طيب. And after stoning in the Aqaba, but you still cannot have jima'. طيب. Ifada, you can now wear your thobe. You will see brothers wearing thobes in Ifada, right? You don't have to wear the ihram, you can cut the hair, right? So this is called tahleel al-awwal. If you have done everything else but you haven't performed sa'i yet, so now you are also in a state of tahleel al-awwal, which would be mufsidat. Yani then their nusuk have become fasid. They have invalidated their Hajj or Umrah. طيب. If one has intercourse after getting into the state of Ihram in Hajj, before the Jamarat, the big Jamarat Uqba, al-Aqaba, then that Hajj is invalidated. You cannot fix it. And this is very important because many people don't learn this. Not only that, you have to continue it. You can't drop out. And you have to make it up. Okay. Umrah, if you're going for Umrah and you've done everything but you haven't done sa'i yet, so it's before sa'i. Okay. And somebody performs jima', then they have invalidated the Umrah. They have to continue it, they have to do the sa'i, and they have to make it up. Okay. And on top of that, فيه للحج, for Hajj, بدنة. بدنة يعني camel. Camel has many words in Arabic language, is one of them. So you have to then give fidya of a camel for Hajj, وَلِعُمْرَةٍ shat. We discussed what shat is already. For Umrah, you have to also give the fidya of shat. And you have to complete both of them, yani Hajj or Umrah, whichever one it is. And you have to make them up mutlaqan. What does it mean, mutlaqan? Meaning whether it's fard or nafal, whether you are baligh or qabla al-bulugh, whether you are male or female, right? If in case of jama'ah, whichever male or female, whichever one it is, both of them, as long as they were both willing. So that means you really shouldn't do this, right? Because not only does it invalidate your Hajj and Umrah, you have to finish it, you have to give fidya, and you have to do it again. طيب? Clear ahadith on this issue anyway. إن كان مكلفين فورا. If they are mukallaf يعني they are in a state where it is obligatory, where they are past bulugh, where they have aqal, where they are Muslim. We talked about who is mukallaf, right? So if they're mukallaf, and they're not little kids, they're grown, right? Then they have to do it right away. What does that mean? For Umrah, they have to go out, pass the miqat, go do an Umrah. For Hajj, they have to wait for the next Hajj. They can't do Hajj outside the Mawsum al-Hajj. But right the next year, they have to do it. طيب? Illa, what if they're not mukallaf? What if they're kids? Right? For example, then بعد التكليف والحج الإسلام فورا. Then as soon as they become mukallaf and they have done their Hajj al-Islam, يعني their fard Hajj. So the example here is, for example, somebody is underage and they are غير عاقل. And somebody is in a state where their mindset isn't right. And they did this knowingly, understandingly. Okay? Then it becomes an obligation for them to make it up. But if they have not performed a Hajj that's obligatory upon them, somebody is under bulugh, then the obligatory Hajj has not been done, then they have to do that first, and right away after that, they have to make up this one. Okay? Umrah, you don't have to wait, you have to do it right then. Tayyib. And if somebody, there is some detail here, but I'm not going to get too detailed into it, inshallah. If somebody has a relations without the actual jama'ah, in that case, if they do reach the point of, then they also have a camel due, we're talking about in Hajj, and if not, then they have the shat. And if it's in Hajj, if they did perform jama' in Hajj, but before tahallul al-awwal, what does that mean? Before stoning the jamaratul aqaba, right? Or in Umrah before the time where they haven't done many of the ahkam yet, it's before the time of sa'i. So in this time we got the ahkam that they will become, their Hajj and Umrah becomes fasid. صح? Now what if it's ba'daha? If somebody has stoned jamaratul aqaba, they've cut their hair, they haven't performed tawaf al-ifada, they're still in a state of ihram, but now it's the lesser ihram. If it's after this in Hajj, or after sa'i, but before cutting the hair in Umrah. So in Umrah, if somebody's done the sa'i, but they just haven't cut the hair, and then jama'ah is done, in that case, it does not make the Hajj fasid or the Umrah. But they still have to fix the situation. They must go and perform the Hajj again, or give the Fidya, I'm sorry. They do not have to do the Hajj again. And if they perform the ziyarah, the ifada, then afterwards they just give the fidya, they do not do it again. In the Umrah, they also give the fidya, but they do not have to repeat it. And this is for the one who does it after that time. Tayyib. And the ihram of the imrah, of the woman, is like that of the man, except that she can, and then he will give a few different things. One, she can wear stitched clothes. Women can wear stitched clothes. They can cover their head. They don't have any problem with that. They can cover their feet. They can cover their hands. They can cover their faces. But not with al-buruq or burqu', which is the niqab as we call it today. Burqa was where the word burqa comes from, which was the face covering. So a woman's ihram is like that of the man, except she does not wear a fixed face covering or gloves. She does not wear actual gloves. Now, as Shaykhuna ibn Uthaymeen and Shaykh ibn Baz and Shaykh al-Fawzan and before Ibn Qudam and others have clarified, that from the hadith in al-Bukhari of Aisha radiyallahu anha, if the woman is in a state of ihram and the non-mahram come close where they can see her face, they can recognize her, at that closeness, they should take their khimar and cover their faces with it. This is the correct hukam for the woman in a state of ihram. And there is no fidya for it, there is no problem. Rather, it is what is obligatory upon her. Right? From the hadith in al-Bukhari. But if she wears a fixed niqab or wears gloves without necessity, bila udrin, as the muallif has mentioned, then in that case she will have to give fidya as well. We need to be clear about this. In the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the libas of the woman, it had the khimar that would be on the head, and then like what they call hijab nowadays is actually the khimar. طيب. And then they would have al-burqu, which is the niqab as called today, which would be a separate piece of cloth that would cover the face. And they would have jalabihinna, yani the big cloth that would cover them, but they would also have gloves, yani for the ones who could afford it. So the niqab and the gloves were only for the wealthy. Why? Because at that time cloth was not very common. The imama was for the people of wealth, because you couldn't afford it, right? Many of the people, as you see the hadith about the Sahabi who never had a qameez in their life until he was leading salah in the bottom of a qameez, he got all happy. Right? Many of the Sahaba, they didn't have even the izar to cover their awrah. They were asking Rasulullah, how do we make salah? We don't have enough cloth. Right? So that was that time frame. So in that time, if a woman wore a separate niqab and gloves, it showed wealth. If a man wore the imama and a nice qameez and things, it showed wealth. To show the equalness of the ummah, these things were made haram in the state of ihram when they're halal or wajib or mustahab outside. Okay? Does that mean that a woman shouldn't cover her face? No. When there are non-mahram that come close, she should cover her face. Why do we say that? From the hadith of Aisha radhiyallahu anha, who said she was in a state of ihram, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam with her. And they were so far from other people that they couldn't come close. Yani at that time they were with their families, with their mahram. She said when the riders, the people on the horses, yani those that were non-mahram came close to us, we took our khimar, covered our faces. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't say anything to her. If this was not permissible, he would have told her. Tayyib? So that shows that this hukam of covering the face from the non-mahram was more important than the wujub of not doing it in that state. Tayyib? So if a woman covers the face, and now, okay, so now we're talking about a practical issue in our time. In our time, if you go for Hajj and Umrah, may Allah accept us all to go, in the Haram, you will be closer to people than anywhere else. You can go to a mall and you'll be further from people than in the Haram, you're going to be like that close to people. So in this time, we give nasiha to our sisters that they take their khimar, they take a side of it, they cover their face, they can pin it, they can tie it any way they want, but with the khimar, not with the separate niqab. And this is what Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen and others have recommended, Shaykh Salih al-Fawzan and others. Tayyib? Shaykh Ibn Baz even said even you can wear niqab nowadays because that hukm is more important, but the safer is not to wear the niqab, rather to take the khimar and to cover the face with it in a state of ihram, and there is no fidya on the woman for that. Rather there is thawab for it. But if a woman is not in need of that, not close to non-mahram, and she not with her khimar but rather with a separate cloth wears it, as some people would to show their wealth or whatever, in that case there would be fidya on the woman. Tayyib, we will stop here inshaAllah and begin with the next part of the chapter inshaAllah at the next dars. Jazakumullahu khairan.